when you had such a, it's very rare, I think, in Legacy that you see a deck with a 3-color mana base that's not playing Brainstorm.
Yeah, the idea is this deck's just trying to power out very powerful cards quickly. It's not messing around with the top of its deck.
When you do, you see a deck like Jund, which has, Punishing Grove or something like that, but he's just playing fair cards. I'm interested by this one. A lot. It's really a heavy black deck. 3 Thoughtseize, 1 Inquisition, a Cabal Therapy, 2 Hymn to Turok, 3 Liliana. That's where the most of his strength comes. And to be honest, this sounds very good against elves. Stoneforge finding Jite was great in this matchup.
Jite is the most important card, and it's one of actually very few things that matter. Again, this is Legacy Elves. The existence of Glimpse of Nature makes the explosive power of this game so much higher than the modern equivalent, not to mention Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, Andrew starts off on Llanowar Elves. But no, this is one of the things that I think helped. It's interesting, right? So Stoneblade used to be one of the top decks in Legacy. Elves has stuck around, though, and Stoneblade leaving is one of the reasons. We see Hymn to Turok on Andrew.
Something about the Abzan version specifically is that Andrew knows he can just jam Natural Order, and it will resolve.
Yes. So Hymn to Turok takes 2 random cards from Andrew's hand. We'll see what he grabs. Looks like Glimpse of Nature and Natural Order. Oh, well then.
Those are good hits.
I don't know the makeup of the rest of Andrew's hand, but those are some pretty good cards to have taken.
Andrew's got some good leftovers, though. I see a Gaia's Cradle and at least 1 Elvish Visionary. He can get on the table in a significant way here.
Yeah, what we'll want to see is whether or not there's a Wirewood Symbiote to go with the Elvish Visionary.
That's a combo.
And yes, there is. Here's Symbiote. 1 green mana off the Llanowar Elf. Casts Deathrite Shaman. Gaia's Cradle makes 3 mana. Casts Elvish Visionary. Draws a card. Does he draw into something that matters? You see Symbiote bounces Visionary, untapping Llanowar Elves. Llanowar Elves makes another mana. Visionaries cast again. Andrew draws. We're done for the turn.
It picks up another Glimpse of Nature.
It's hard to kill spell elves out of the game. Cards like Hymn to Turok, not particularly good against them.
You really need to get a clock underway or a way to destroy a lot of creatures in the same swipe.
Wasteland and Abrupt Decay are the plays for Wilkin. Looks like it's going to be Decay on the Symbiote, and then I expect him to follow up by Wastelanding the Cradle. Now, interestingly, if he's going to make this play, he may have wanted to disguise the Wasteland before doing it. It probably does not affect Andrew's play. You see he'll bounce Elvish Visionary. But yeah, get that Cradle out. He's trying to keep Andrew's mana under control. And one of the things I want to see, it's a 1-of in Wilkin's deck. He has a copy of Hero of Bladehold in his hand. It's a 1-of in his deck. It's one of his win cons. Not really good for this matchup, but it's a nice one.
It's mighty strong when your opponent is just trying to lightning bolt it, but the Elves deck is much more capable of just saying, okay, I'll just kill you.
I'll 20 you. It's fine. Elvish Visionary, the play for Jessup.
Another Symbiote in hand, another land as well.
Yeah, this is really good. It's so hard to kill spell elves out of the game. You see how each time, and that's not even to mention the glimpse that's in Andrew's hand. He just can keep reloading.
Yeah, if you're going to beat elves with a kill spell deck, you really need to be on the table with a significant clock.
Or we need a card like Damnation. You need a real sweeper. Here's Wirewood Symbiote. Now we're going to start going to work again. Bounce Visionary, untap Llanowar Elves. Make a green. Make another mana. Cast Visionary. Draw. Andrew's just not going to run out of cards.
And even with this sequencing here, Symbiote plus Visionary, it kind of makes a mockery of the potential for Damnation as well.
His hand has 5 cards.
Yeah, exactly. Toxic Deluge, sure, whatever, even if he has it. Dark
Confidant for Wilkin. That's... Yeah, his value game here is just getting outvalued by the elves. Nandersey going to keep going to work. He bounces the Visionary on end step. Untapping Deathrite. Picks up Dryad Arbor. He has some Glimpse of Natures for extra cards, and he's going to start the turn with one of those. So now every time he plays a creature, the spell casts a creature this turn, he'll draw a card. Why not start with Nettle Sentinel? Okay, this can get out of hand.
Finding a Heritage Druid here would be obscene.
Yeah, he could maybe draw his deck if he does.
Yeah.
He has 1 Birchlore Rangers and 4 Heritage Druids. Those are the cards that combo with Sentinel. And interestingly, because I haven't seen much Stoneblade, it's been a while since we've seen matchups, I think, where elves actually combo with Glimps. You just see them do value stuff a lot more often. But he could do so much more here. You see casting Visionary for 2 cards.
Looks like Jessup's picked up a lot of lands.
Bayou into Deathrite Shaman, draws a card. Wired Symbiote's going to be used. Looks like he's going to untap and bounce. No mana floating, so yeah, he's going to pick up Deathrite instead of Visionary. Just recast that. Draw another card. So looks like, because he didn't have Heritage Druid, oh, maybe not Birchlore Rangers to pick up. Okay, he can cast a lot of cards.
Actually, Quirion Ranger.
Quirion Ranger? Okay. So Quirion Ranger bounces a land to untap a creature. Now he'll cast the Deathrite Shaman from earlier. Draws another card. Turns out to be a value Glimpse as opposed to a combo Glimpse.
Plenty of value generated.
Oh yeah,
though.
he now has 7 creatures in play. I think 6 or 7 cards in hand. Makes Dark Confidant look a little puny.
If he found a Birchlore Ranger or a Heritage Druid that turn, very possibly could have ended the game that turn. Just making a bunch of mana, untapping the Nettle Sentinel, casting 1/1s, finding some way to put a Craterhoof Behemoth on the battlefield. Even as things stand, though, he's very far ahead. Ton of cards in hand.
Wilkin's just going to scoop it up. He sees how this one works. You know, it's one of those Dark Confidant, not... does not draw cards the same way that Elvish Visionary does.
Dark Confidant takes time to draw cards with a drawback. Glimpse of Nature is not having any of that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and look at the sideboard. Starting off with Wilkin Chau, the Abzan Stoneblade deck. He's got actually a lot of cards that can play here, and I mean a lot. So one thing, when you talk about someone who's playing an older deck, right, Stoneblade, it's not really a deck anymore. But people, when they play Legacy tournaments, sometimes they bring their deck from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, you saw, I guess I was going to say, like, Humility was more popular. Certainly that's going to play here. He's got actually a ton of cards that are great against elves.
Yeah, so we go down the list here. We have 2 Replicate, 2 Gaddock Teague, a Sanctum Prelate, a Layla Under the Void, a Rest in Peace, a Surgical Extraction, an Engineered Explosives, a Toxic Deluge, a Zealous Persecution, a Gideon Ally as Zendikar, a Pithing Needle, a Humility, and an Ensnaring Bridge. So the Abrupt Decays, they're fine. A little slow, but they're a removal spell. The Gaddock Teague is actually kind of nice. Because you turn off Green Sun Zenith and Natural Order from the Elves deck. And those are pretty problematic cards.
Now, they're not perfect. Andrew can still do exactly what he did game 1 there. He could have done all that through a Gaddock Teague, but you're right.
Yeah, they would have looked nicer than Dark Confidant on that table anyway.
You don't have time for Confidant,
right. The Sweeper effects, the Engineered Explosives, the Toxic Deluge, the Zealous Persecution, those are all quite powerful here. Humility and Ensnaring Bridge are a little slower. The Bridge is kind of an answer to Craterhoof Behemoth, though I don't know if it necessarily is impactful enough.
Now, if he can land Humility, it's pretty lights out here, right?
Yes and no. Andrew's deck still presents a lot of 1/1s. Turn off some of his most explosive stuff.
Yeah, now, I guess when I was going to be talking about older sideboards, I guess there aren't any cards like Knight of Souls, Betrayal, or Engineered Plague here, which would be like, people used to play that for elves.
Plague would be great. A Moat would be nice.
Can he use Ensnaring Bridge?
Kind of. I mean, it's going to be hard to get down to 0 cards. It's going to be something that deals with Craterhoof Behemoth to an extent, but it's dicey.
If Andrew can full draw his deck, then he'll get the Reclamation Sage as well. For Andrew's sideboard, he has a set of Thoughtseize, a set of Abrupt Decay, some Therapies, Surgical Extractions, Pithing Needle, and Scavenging Ooze. Much like a combo deck, his sideboard's not offensive, it's all defense. You know, these are all hate cards for other matchups. I don't know if any of them see play here.
No, there's some stuff that's very much fine. You know, having a Thoughtseize effect to maybe get rid of some of these sweepers, totally reasonable. If you expect some kind of goofy permanent, say, Engineered Plague from your opponent, you can bring in Abrupt Decay. He has a couple options that are just totally fine.
So Andrew Jessup here made his first Players' Championship last year. He and his brother, Danny, both of Team Metagame Gurus. He has 5 open top 8s, so just the younger brother here, 21. Had quite the season last year when it came to Modern. He had some runner-up finishes with Infect in Modern, known to play Elves in Legacy as well. Kind of still waiting on that. Surprised that he hasn't gotten his first open win. Certainly one of the strongest players we regularly see on the tour without one.
Couple finals losses to teammates, like you do. But yeah, still looking for a trophy, and Legacy is generally his best format, though a lot of success with Modern, in fact, in his day as well.
Both of them mana creature decks, I suppose. I'm trying to think if there's a he's not a player I associate a style with. You know, he's got, I guess
it's really
green
just
creature
two
decks.
specific decks, Elves and Infect.
Remember, he's in the Players' Championship as well. Wilkin looks like he's going to 6 here. And he will keep. His sideboard doesn't have huge haymakers in it. It's got cards that play. I suppose Deluge and Zealous Persecution are pretty good.
Yeah. The Persecution has a lot higher of a ceiling, as you can get Jessup on his turn.
Yeah. But this kind of matchup tends to be good for Elves, barring things like Engineered Plague. That's why I guess back in the old days of Legacy, you'd see these kind of decks have to board that in, because without a haymaker card like that, you know, your plan of Swords to Plowshares doesn't work.
When there were more goblins running about, Engineered Plague just made more sense to have as a sideboard option.
Merfolk was even a thing. You could, I guess you wouldn't really use it against them.
You kind of had the double plague that one, and even then, if they just, you know, had a couple lords, you're already
dead. Can you play
dead.
plagues faster than they play Merfolk?
Probably not. Dark Ritual, Engineered Plague, name Merfolk, got him.
Andrew's going to turn 1 Green Sun Zenith for 0. That gets Dryad Arbor out of his deck, which Wilkin's going to Swords to Plowshares.
Slow him down. That's
sure.
Totally fine play.
Well, 1-for-1 trading is Wilkin's strategy here. He's hoping to 1-for-1 trade until he can land a GT hit.
Yeah. Yeah, really just wants to set up for that. So if he has a turn 2 Stoneforge, he's actually in a pretty good position.
That is going to be the turn 2 play, Stoneforge Mystic. Doesn't even have to think twice about what that's getting. This card is so hard for Elves to beat. And there we see Umezawa's Jite. So there's the clock from Obzon. If he gets counters on this, we're done.
Jessup really wants to track down his Reclamation Sage.
But even then, because it's coming into play off Stoneforge Mystic, Wilkin still, even if Andrew has the Reclamation Sage, Wilkin still gets to sweep his entire board before it blows up. But I guess you can come back from your board getting swept. You are playing Elves.
Right.
Nettle Sentinel turn 2 here for Jessup and Dryad Arbor.
The Elf deck actually has a reasonable line against Umezawa's Jite with Wirewood Symbiote. If you can keep one of those in play, you just get in front of a creature, return it to your hand before damage, and then it's not really an issue anymore.
You see Wilkin wastelands away the Dryad Arbor and just says go with 2 mana up. He's preparing to put Jite into play. Jessup's hand some lands, a Wirewood, Crater Hoof. He'll swing Nettle Sentinel, it's 2 damage. And just says go. I was a little interested that he swung this. Because if he leaves it back as a blocker, then the attack from Wilkin costs him the Stoneforge Mystic. Right, he'd block, lose the Stoneforge, get Jite counters. I mean, Wilkin would still make the play.
Jessup potentially could have brought an Abrupt Decay, and that's his plan. If he could catch a Stoneforge in combat, Abrupt Decay the Jite, and just eat the Stoneforge Mystic.
And remember, there's only 1 Umezawa's Jite in Wilkin's list. But no Abrupt Decay. I guess we're still waiting to see if there's a Decay. He'd wait. He wants the mana, too. Just let him equip it.
He's certainly playing in a way that suggests that he could have it.
Yeah, I mean, why? So Wilkin would equip and swing. Andrew would blow up the Jite, block the Stoneforge. It's pretty good. Deathrite Shaman here from Wilkin, and another Deathrite Shaman. He is just going to swing for 2 with the Stoneforge. And I think Andrew will make the Abrupt Decay play anyway.
Swing for 1, rather.
Right. By decaying the Jite, he gets to eat the Mystic for free.
Yep.
And that takes a huge... This is big against Abzan. Like I said, Wilkin, this is his only GT, and I don't believe he has a way to recur it.
Yeah, his value just tends to be stuff that plays on the battlefield. There's nothing like an Eternal Witness in the deck.
Yeah, so Sentinel blocks Stoneforge Mystic. Decay takes down GT. Stoneforge cleanly answered. Wilkin will have to find a different way to win. Now, he does have 2 Deathrights.
It gives him the ability to really cast any spell in his deck, so we'll find out exactly what the leftovers in hand are.
I'm hoping for Hero of Bladehold. And Andrew's going to do a value Glimpse here. So Glimpse plays Creon Ranger, draws a card. Has not played a land yet. Swings Nettle Sentinel. And Wilkin's not going to trade a Shaman for that. Ranger returns a land to untap a creature. That doesn't really do anything right now.
Yeah, he's already got his 3rd land drop in hand.
Yeah.
Not to mention that he wouldn't be untapping anything that he could do anything with.
Yeah, this Glimpse may end up just being a divination, which is fine.
Yep.
A little unexciting.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to do that.
Yep. And here's Symbiote, drawing him a 2nd card. And that's going to be all. Goes back over to Wilkin. 3rd land from the Abzan Stoneblade deck. See what he wants to build up toward here. So the rest of his list is a lot of control cards. His other threats, other ways to win, he's got 2 more Stoneforges, and I guess he has Batterskull. He has 2 Shriekmaws and a Hero Bladehold. Looks like he's going to make a lot of mana. He's going to make 2 mana and cast Gaddock Teague. And Andrew did pick up a Green Sun Zenith, so that's going to play. And then he casts Lingering Souls as his last card. Empty-handed.
Okay, so he's turned off some percentage of Jessup's deck, though I believe a 2nd Abrupt Decay is in hand.
Okay, well, that'll take care of Gaddock Teague. Yeah, Decay, Craterhoof Behemoth, and Green Sun Zenith are the cards for Andrew, so you're right. He picks up a Forest for the turn.
Jessup a little ways away from being able to cast that Craterhoof Behemoth.
Yeah, I mean, you might see something like... I wouldn't be surprised to see Decay, and then with the intention of eventually trying to Zenith for Elvish Visionary, something like that. Nettle Sentinel's going to attack. Andrew's fine with either trade here. But no trade will happen. Wilkin drops to 11.
Attention Magic players. We have 4 seats remaining.
So yeah, he can't cast Green Sun Zenith yet. Can't cast Craterhoof yet. He does have the Abrupt Decay. If he plays that, he has no more plays, so he's just going to say go.
Since his hand is kind of empty and he already has Wirewood Symbiote, likely that he wants to use that Green Sun Zenith to find Elvish Visionary, so he can start bouncing that and just casting it a couple times until he finds something relevant. Say a guy is created to cast his Craterhoof Behemoth. Because he's only got 4 mana right now, he can't really decay and do that in the same turn.
Speaking of something relevant, draw off the top for Wilkin Chau is a 2nd copy of Stoneforge Mystic. This one will find Sword of Fire and Ice.
That's pretty good with those flying spirit tokens.
Yeah, he'll be able to set that one up for next turn. As for right now, he may just flash back Lingering Souls. It actually looks like he's going to go for the Sword of Fire and Ice, get that into play.
So now Jessup has a choice between unlocking the Green Sun Zenith or just killing the Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
With the materials he has available, that sword is mighty threatening.
A swing for 2 puts Andrew down to 16. We'll see what he decays. I think he's gonna decide, can he win off, does Zenith play here? He'll get Gaddock Teague with the decay.
He could Zenith for the Reclamation Sage now and take care of the sword that way.
Sure, I guess if that's what he wanted to do, then that's just better.
Yes.
That's just better than Abrupt Decaying the sword, sure. Attacks again for 2. I like this value damage that Andrew actually keeps getting off these Nettle Sentinels. He's got Wilkin down to 9. That's not irrelevant. Zenith for 3. Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for the Sage. This is something Wilkin's last turn of casting Sword, I think I would have preferred to see him flashback Lingering Souls and then do the Sword and equip all in one turn to kind of avoid this.
Yep.
He would also... No, he still wouldn't threaten lethal. He'd be a little short, but it'd be very close. And then Andrew will play Deathrite Shaman, says go. He has 5, 6. He actually has 7 mana available on the board for next turn. He's got 4 lands. Deathrite is 5. Ranger untaps Deathrite to make 6. And Ranger makes 7. That... No, hold on. Everything's messed up now. Because Wilkin's going to go cast Humility. And that card's just a headache.
Humility, many the bane of an aspiring Magic judge.
I'm not entirely sure that this Humility is good for Wilkin.
Well, it makes Jessup's Crater of Behemoth not very exciting, but you're right, on the table now there's a lot of 1/1s on both sides.
They're all 1/1s. Well, he could have defended against the Crater Hoof by just using his own Deathrite Shamans to deny Jessup's Deathrite, and might have... I guess he was still a long ways away from winning. Well, this will be interesting. This is gonna mess up the game, that's for sure. I remember Humility works in such a way that Andrew can't bounce. Well, he could bounce Reclamation Sage in response, but you can't use Reclamation Sage to blow up Humility because Sage is a 1/1 and doesn't blow up. Doesn't do anything anymore.
Jessup does pick up 1 creature, though. This makes it so that if he top decks a Glimpse of Nature, he can actually use it to start drawing some cards.
Okay. Humility sticks. Okay. Andrew cannot remove this card.
Now the game's going to be real fun.
Well, everybody gets to... I guess Wilkin has Lingering Souls in his yard, so he's got more... He wins the who has more 1/1s game.
Yeah, Lingering Souls is it's a combo with Humility.
Is there any reason why Andrew shouldn't just swing his whole team and trade off the board? So does it gain... I guess if he draws Gaia's Cradle, but that doesn't... Then he'd want the board.
Yeah.
Not that matters that much. He's kind of got a lot of mana anyway.
Yeah, we're kind of in a position where Wilkin's kind of advantage. The best ways that Jessup has to break through involve Glimpse of Nature turns.
So 4 1/1 swing, 3 1/1s block, 1 lives. Big trade. Wilkin down to 8. Ability in a lot of ways is very complicated, but also very simple. All the cards are that combat math, not very not very hard.
This 1/1 trades with that 1/1.
And here's some more 1/1s.
This 1/1 trades with that 1/1, etc.
Land from Wilkin. He'll play it. Flashes back Soul. So 4-3, Wilkin's ahead on creatures. What matters? If Wilkin drew... I was gonna say if he draws Batter Skull. That kind of matters. Yeah, there just aren't many top decks that do anything anymore. Lingering Souls is the sweetest one. Might be the only one. I'm kind of unconvinced you see Andrew trades away the board here. I'm not positive that Humility in play is a good thing for Wilkin. He's got more dead cards.
Yeah, but Jessup's Crater Hoof's just not going to matter, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little bit of a toss-up.
2 mana 1/1s for both players.
Yeah, well, look, but right if the game... Yeah, okay, they're going to trade. Or not. Wilkin goes to 7. If the game's out having more creatures, Andrew's more likely to draw a creature than Wilkin. Well, we'll see. It's 2-2. If Wilkin can hit a Lingering Souls, though, that is the best card by a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Lingering
4
Souls.
1/1s.
Exactly. He does have more lands in his deck, but he has the highest impact singular top deck. Because you see, Jessup did pick up Glimpse of Nature. If he's able to peel a couple 1/1s off the top of his deck, he can really take over this game that way. Still can't really take advantage of the Crater Hoof Behemoth, but he's able to find some 1/1s that combo with the Glimpse. He can at least get the mana to convert that into an actual 1/1 creature, though it doesn't feel very good off of his 8 mana.
Interesting enough, so Wilkin does play a copy of Batter Skull in his deck. Because the Batter Skull will be cast after the Humility, he would get a 5/5 Vigilance Lifelink Germ token if he casts Batterskull here.
I'm not sure if I'm using the correct word, but I think that timestamps are the thing.
I will let the judges sort that one out. Other than that,
I believe you, and there's something in my brain that tells me a reason why that could work.
Yeah. Something layers.
As a Minnesotan, I'm very familiar with layers.
Oh, that was good. Green Sun Zenith for 2 from Andrew. But it's just going to find a 1/1.
Well, yeah.
That one's actually a 1/1.
Well, see, he has drawn Glimpse of Nature, and he has a 1-mana 1/1. He wants to maximize the chance of just drawing more 1-mana 1/1s.
Yeah, so you wanna Zenith for the biggest creatures to get it out of your deck.
Right. Very minor thing.
8 to 12 now. Dark Confidant has the advantage here for Wilkin. Now, what I'm interested in is how many cards does Andrew, so like, when does he fire off Glimpse? You know, he can really milk this one.
Well, he might have waited a little too long because Wilkin did draw Thoughtseize for the turn.
He's not even going to cast it, though.
Well, you think Andrew's just empty?
You want the Do you want the real one? Wilkin, I believe, has a copy of Zealous Persecution. In the battle of the 1/1s, Zealous Persecution's great.
That one's nice. That one's pretty nice, too.
Natural Order looks really bad with Humility in play. Andrew did just pick one up.
Turn this 1/1 into this 1/1.
Yeah. And here's Batterskull from Wilkin. It makes a Germ. So how this works is the Germ is no longer a 0/0. The Germ is a 1/1, which got +4/+4 and lifelink. So it is a 5/5 lifelink Vigilance.
Not bad. Jessup just being humiliated and battered.
Oh, wow. And
whatever.
Swings with Zealous.
Pump my team.
It's not lethal, but it's real close. Wilkin Chau takes the second game. What a mess. Maybe Humility is not a pretty card, but it got the job done. Oh my gosh.
Not only is the art kind of hard on the eyes, but it's a card that is by no means printable by a reasonable game designer.
You mean every time we cast it, the producers here just have to start looking up judge rulings? Like, hold on. Like, wait, he just played this. Okay, how does this work? Like, hold on.
Humility players.
This happens literally every time we cover something with Humility. No one knows what's happening.
Humility players are beloved by their local judge staff.
All right, folks, going to get ready for a third game. We're going to talk about Star City Games Game Night. This is the promotion run at stores all around the country. You get exclusive pins and tokens from Star City Games just for playing in your weekly events. So all of April, we've been giving away our custom art for the Fleece Keeper. This is your legacy card. Somewhat, it stops creatures from attacking. It's also a sheep. Next month, we're giving away the Imperious Perfect. This one would fit very nicely into, well, yes, it's an elf. It can go into Andrew's deck. I don't know if he can actually make these tokens anymore. But there was once a time where they played Wirewood Hive Master and would make many of these cat elf warriors. And if you weren't here earlier, we debuted the newest one for June. It is the Murderous Red Carp. This we'll be giving that one away. Look, it's just straight from Shadowmoor. He's a fish that he caught another fish. Just, wow. Such an evil thing.
Savage. That fish is a monster.
If you register now, we can get you signed up in time for June.
It's very flavorful because carp are bottom feeders.
So you can find a location near you or get signed up if you're a store owner at starcitygames.com/game night.
I really like that it's wearing a hat that is clearly just another fish.
Well, fish aren't really the brightest creatures. You know.
Yeah, they don't really think.
No, they just
swim and eat.
Well, yeah, he's got so the red cap. That's like a French Revolution thing, right? The red caps were like peasants.
I believe you.
I think so. Yeah, they look. See, that guy's a fish, kind of.
I believe the card was actually printed in Shadowmoor.
Well, yeah, that card's from Shadowmoor. No,
do you get it? You don't get it.
No, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, you see, the French Revolution happened in the real world.
In Lorwyn?
Yeah.
and then after the Aurora
the French Revolution happened on Dominaria, and we don't go there anymore.
A very similar historical event happened in Lorwyn. Andrew on the play. Turn 1, we'll have Deathrite Shamans. We get ready for our third game here. Game 2 went the way of Wilkin, thanks to some well-timed removal and humility.
Humility plus lingering souls, really.
Yeah, but it really took all the tools out of Wilkin's toolbox. He had to have he had to have the early Stoneforge, finding Umezawa's Jite. He had to have the Batter Skull. He had to have the humility. A lot of things had to go right.
And Jessup has the initiative in this game. He is on the play, and Wilkin's high-impact cards also, they all cost at least 3 mana.
Yeah, they're a little slow, and Wilkin's honest on his mana. No mana acceleration in the deck.
Got a couple Chrome Mox. We haven't seen one yet.
That's one of the interesting things when you're looking at Legacy right now. Almost every archetype has a way to cheat on mana at this point. You know, there are very few decks that just, like, they're either playing Deathrite Shaman or playing a Mox or an Ether Vial. Like, decks that are just, you know, playing out lands and playing their cards on curve. There aren't too many of them.
Yeah. Miracle's cheating in the sense that every effect in the deck is undercosted.
Yeah. Miracles is the only deck not cheating on mana.
And Jessup setting up nicely here with a turn 2 Cradle.
Turn 2 Cradle. And looks like he's going to Green Sun as well. There's no true sweeper. I guess he needs to dodge Zealous Persecution, but even then,
he can just pick up the Visionary with the Symbiote. The Deathrite Shaman will survive.
And he went in Zenith for Dryad Arbor, and that has some great interactions with Quirion Ranger as well. Almost certainly Andrew has a turn 3. If he's making this kind of line, you got to worry about a Crater Hoof next turn. There's more than enough mana for it. So he says go. Wilkin draws. If he was hoping a turn 2 Stoneforge was certainly not going to be good enough here. He will be dead on turn 3.
Yeah, the odds of just getting hoofed on turn 3 are extremely high from this position. Even if Wilkin casts a Zealous Persecution, you know, the Quirion Ranger can pick up that Dryad Arbor. The Wirewood Symbiote can pick up the Elvish Visionary, and Jessup just loses his Symbiote.
And here is Zealous. It is the sweeper. So Quirion Ranger picks up the Dryad Arbor to untap Deathrite Shaman. Wirewood Symbiote picks up Quirion Ranger.
All right, Jessup not even in the market for Elvish Visionary. His hand must be mighty nice already.
Yeah.
Hard to pass on a card as powerful as Elvish Visionary.
It's just the best. I don't know why people play Dark Confidant. Wilkin should switch those for Visionaries.
Just draws a card right away. Trades in combat.
Games don't last enough turns for that to matter, right? So, Quirion Ranger, Dryad Arbor. From Andrew. Now Cradle taps for 3. He'll cast Elvish Visionary, drawing a card. That might be why he didn't keep it. He had another. Then it goes exiles a land, has 1 mana floating. He'll cast another Elvish Visionary, or rather make that a Green Sun for 1. Let's go one deeper. Let's get a Symbiote to go with that Visionary. That seems great.
Yeah.
And just as soon as Wilkin, look at this. This is literally the same board that Wilkin just persecuted. Down the exact same set of cards.
A number of them even the same copy.
Yeah, it's 7 for the exact same 7 permanents. And this is why Elves is great. It's just, yeah, no problem. Now, Andrew had to use a Zenith out of his hand, so it's possible. I was going to say it's possible he doesn't have another one for the Crater Hoof, but now we see he does.
Remember, Elves is on the slower side for a Legacy combo deck, but it often does a better job of beating up the fair decks.
Right. Liliana of the Veil from Wilkin. That is not going to stop him from dying next turn.
No.
Just not close. Sacrifice a creature. Sure, Andrew picks Visionary. That's fine. Wilkin is very dead. Well, we'll see it happen. All right. 4, so that Cradle currently taps for 4. 4, 5, 6. Bounce a land to untap a creature. The creature is the Dryad Arbor. 7, 8, 9. Go Zenith for Crater Hoof.
That looks a lot like 19 damage to me.
Crater Hoof enters play. All your creatures get +5/+5.
That's even well,
untap Dryad Arbor.
Had the
pump
Arbor
everything.
on top
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah, and that is the kill from Andrew Jessup. Elves doing an impressive display there of fighting through removal. And Andrew Jessup moves to 5-0, where he'll be joined by his brother over in the backup feature match. Danny Jessup defeats Jadine Klemperens. So for both brothers, both metagame gurus, it's a 5-0 start here at the Open.
And Wilkin just had turn 2 Zealous Persecution. It's one of his higher ceiling cards.